What's up, guys? In today's video, we're gonna be looking at the fish shell. So the fish shell for Unix systems like Linux. So I have recently, maybe not recently, but I have a playlist on my channel on ZSH, which you can take a look at. So basically, today I'm gonna be looking at the fish shell. Alright, so the first thing that you want to know about the fish shell is its syntax. Its syntax is very different than that of Bash, like very different. Okay, so let's say, for example, let's go to Bash. Okay, so let's say we want to define a variable in Bash. Then we can just we can say var equals 1, and now let's put it like any spaces, like otherwise it's not gonna recognize that. So var equals 1. Like the var, we can display the value of that, and it displays 1. Okay, let's try the same thing in fish then. So var equals 1. So actually, believe it or not, fish doesn't really support the equal sign. So actually, what you have to do is you have to use a set of var1 as it says right here, and then you can do is echo var, and now it displays 1. So I mean, so its syntax is quite different. So also other things like, for example, let's say in Bash, I want to set my prompt. Then what I can do is do ps1 equals like, and then for example, string like hello, and with this, and then with the space here, and for example, this is my prompt. Now, if I want to do that in fish, that's not going to work. So ps1, so set ps1 hello, and then if we try that, it's actually not going to even do anything because it's not really. I mean, that's not how it works. So actually, so let's talk about the fish config file. So we clearly need to make a config file for this. We clearly need to edit our config file, right? So let's go into .config, and actually, by the way, in case you didn't know, in Fish you can actually switch to directories without typing C. And all you have to remember is like if you want to actually switch to a directory like that, you just need to put a / then, but then you don't have to type cd, which can actually kind of save you time a bit. And then ls, we go into .config, and we have this fish folder. So we're gonna go into that. So fish. Okay, ls, and now over here you can see we have a file called config.fish, and this is gonna be your fish config. So basically, I just have a few aliases, and actually, you might have noticed that then Bash, what you do to add aliases, so you do, for example, alias ls equals exa whatever. Actually, in Fish, that is allowed, but I mean, you don't have to do. So I just took advantage of the fact that I don't have to use equal signs in Fish. Okay, and then now let's say okay, so now that still doesn't tell me how to set my prompt. So let's go into this functions folder right here. ls, and now we have this file called fish_prompt.fish, which actually I created myself. So let's go and look at this one. Alright, you can see it's basically just ignore the other stuff. I mean, basically it's just like stuff for like showing like the git status or something. Just ignore that. You just want to pay attention to this. And actually, believe it or not, in Fish, the way to set your prompt is actually by using a function. So you need to describe a function called You need to make a function called fish_prompt. And by the way, this is the syntax for functions in Fish. So basically, function fish_prompt, no parentheses or anything, and then and then all this stuff, and then then once you're done with the function, you type n basically, and then you basically have this printf statement, which is basically my prompt. So that's basically how that works. Now, for example, so I do want to talk about Fish autocompletion. So you might have noticed, well, Fish has some very nice color scheme going on, right? I mean, like, pretty colorful, right? I mean, that's one of the really nice things about Fish. It's really colorful. So for example, you can see if I type C, well, clearly C obviously is not a command, so it's in red. But you can see it's actually trying to autocomplete this command for me. It's trying to autocomplete clear for me, so I can type the right arrow and it does that for me. And then if a command's valid, then it's going to be in blue. So I mean, it's a really nice nifty feature of Fish. Okay, so what else can you do in Fish? Well, actually, you can, for example, you can say your prompt, and also you can actually Fish has pretty good color handling. So let's say I want to print out some text in maybe green. Okay, so what we can do is we can use variables. So we can set green to and then we use a parenthesis. And actually, you cannot use so in Bash, what you could do is you have two options. So either you could use a $sign and then two parentheses. Or you could use two backticks like this. But actually, Fish supports neither of those. So I mean, you just have to you're just gonna use the parentheses without the $sign. So then set_color green. And actually, so we can do that. And now we can do echo $sign green, and then followed by some text. Like for example, hello. And now it kind of is supposed to display that in green. Now I guess doesn't really render that well. I mean, yeah. But I mean, yes, it's supposed to, render in green. Like for example, okay, so let's try to. So now, also what you can do is if you want to make the text appear in bold, you can do set color minus O, and then it should be the same thing but a little bolder. So I mean, yeah. So fish has a very nice color scheme as well. Now, so you might be wondering. Okay, so I know that fish is a is a great interactive shell, but like, what about for scripting? That's actually a good question. So personally, this is what I do. So personally, what I do is I have fish as my default shell, for everyday tasks. But whenever I'm creating a script, I always make sure to do it in Bash because the fish syntax is very intuitive for scripting. So basically, you can do, you can use fish as your standard shell, and then you can use Bash for, for scripting. Also, if you need to quickly run a Bash command, then Bash makes it very easy. For example, you can do Bash minus C, then some command, like for example, ls or something. And you can easily run a command. So basically, you could use fish for as your interactive shell, and then you can use Bash for scripting. I should also mention that this function subdirectory can actually be used to define any function you want in fish. Like for example, this is for your fish prompt, but you can also use it for for example, setting other functions as well. Or I guess you could put that in your fish config. But normally it's recommended put them in this directory. And I do want to talk a little bit more about the prompt. So for example, we can view that file again. And then basically this is my prompt. So it's like so first of all it prints out the current directory in blue. So it says here it basically prints it out in blue. So it prints out the current directory in blue basically. So and then uses the variable prompt underscore pwd. I know there is also like for example pwd, but that actually just in all caps. Like there is that variable, but that just kind of prints it out like the whole full path name, which I don't really like. There's also, I guess you could use parentheses in, pwd, but again, that also just does the same thing. It prints out the whole path name. On the other hand, if you use prompt underscore pwd, it kind of shorts it a little bit, It kind of shorts a little, and then over here I have this thing, so fish underscore get underscore prompt, it's basically, for example, whenever, get status monitoring, it's kind of for get, and then, I print out, this thing in red, and then, so basically, and then I print this, greater than sign in red, which actually by default, the fish config, the default fish prompt is actually almost the same thing. It's basically like, it's basically this same thing, but without the fish underscore get underscore prompt, and without the coloring. So yeah, that was the fish shell. So it's a very a friendly interactive shell, which is actually what it stands for. Now again, for scripting, you probably want to use Bash for scripting, but fish overall is a very nice interactive shell. So anyway, I might make more videos on fish in the future, but for now, see you next time, guys.